I just want to share a technique about using paint in a way that is like collage. And basically what I have here is a panel that I'm just layering paint over. So I just now want to experiment with using paint and collaging paint over top of this panel just to give a different mark to the surface. It produces different effects, and there's a kind of mystery about how the surface of the piece comes together. And I sort of like the feeling where you don't exactly know how the marks went on the page or how the layers were built up. So what you really need is some parchment paper. So I've just cut this into strips, and what you basically do is you apply paint to the parchment paper and you let it dry. And so this is what this is. It's some blue paint. And so what I want to do now is transfer this paint onto this panel. So basically what you do is I've decided that I want to place it here, and be aware that it's always kind of going to be in the reverse because you're applying the paint directly to the surface of the piece. So what I want to do is just sort of roughly get an idea of where I want it. It's better if it's not absolutely precise. And I'm just going to cut the parchment where I want it to go on the panel. And now you just need gloss medium, and you want to get a good dab of gloss medium on the surface and a paintbrush. And so you want to get a good generous amount of gloss medium to where you want to lay the color, and you just essentially drop it onto the piece. I kind of like to leave it hanging off a little bit. And what we're doing now is just kind of gluing I'm going to get closer. So I'm just kind of gluing the parchment to the surface. And I usually just take another piece of parchment and I just push the painted parchment onto the surface. And you'll see, you'll get pieces that are kind of coming off, or like globs of the gloss, and that's basically it. So now this is just going to dry, and once it's dried, it'll be probably like overnight, just to make sure it's good and dry, and then you can just literally peel the parchment off of the panel, and the paint layer will remain. I'll show you what it will look like when it's dry. Let's see. So let's see what it looks like when we peel off the parchment paper to reveal the paint layer that's underneath. Now, usually the parchment will peel off quite easily. As you can see, you just really can grab a corner and it will just peel right off. And that's that. So it's that layer of paint's basically adhered right to the surface. You can see through the brush marks some layers that are shown underneath. Right at the edges, I cut the paint paper so that it's just slightly over. So you could either like just cut it down, or what I usually do is just fold it over. And it's for some reason likes to just stick down. All you really need to do is fold it over, and it sticks right to the edges. And basically, that's that. Really simple. And I can just show you on a few more because I usually work in a group. So here I've just put a little bit of blue here and a bit of white here. So again, to peel off the parchment, you just literally peel it off. And you can actually reuse this parchment paper. It gets a little curly, but you can use it up to a point, and then you have to basically get rid of it. So here is another little bit, and I'm just basically folding back the edge that was over the side. So just to wrap up, what I usually do after I add the layer of the painted collage paper is I will apply another layer of gloss medium and just continue to build up the layers. I could go in with a painted marker, with a pencil, with a paintbrush. It's just a different way of making a mark on the surface. So the technique of using this painted collage paper is really an approachable, low-stakes way of getting into creating marks on the surface, because you can play around with proportion and position and color before you commit to the finality of a brush stroke. This is just a really easy way of diving back into making marks, and hopefully that was helpful.